Alright, section 2.2 is standard form. I've already done these questions, so I'm just going to kind of go down the list here. Number 16, so you have it in standard form. I've labeled my A, B, and my C. Now if I want the vertex and the Y-intercept, when you have the standard form, Y-intercept is really easy. It's going to be this, it's the C. So my Y-intercept is 0, 15. You can see that I've got it labeled there. Excuse me. Alright, just a second here. Okay, I think I can highlight. Oh, I don't want to scratch it out. Alright, and don't want to do that either. Alright, so next, so I have the Y-intercept, but where did this 3, 6? That's the answer. So let's see, I use the Vertex formula, negative b over 2a. I plug in my b, double negative divided by 2 times a, which is 1. That's not a 9, that's an a. 6 divided by 2 is 3, so that's the x-coordinate. So then I plug 3 in back into the equation to get my actual value there of 6, and so that's my vertex, and that's all that it's asking for. Alright, number 17, same process, but notice that you ended up with 15 over 8, and you're like, oh, did I do something wrong? And you didn't. It's just that you have a decimal, and so at this point, what you'd want to do, let me get this out of here, what you'll want to do is you'll actually want to throw that, you're going to not do it by hand. You're going to essentially put it into your calculator, okay? You're going to take that decimal form, plug it in, and you're going to get this 4 times this squared, so do that first, and you should get negative 5.0625. So this means then that our vertex is 1.875 comma negative 5.0625. Okay, and that's more real worldish because everything is always in decimals when you're doing scientific analysis. And of course your y-intercept would then be 9, right? 0, 9. Okay, so that would be the answer for 17. 16. 18 and 19 actually, this got by me. I thought one of the points was going to be a vertex. If you have one of them as a vertex, no problem. You can actually get the equation. And then you only need one other point. But when you have 3, you actually have to use something called matrices. And matrices is not something I totally skipped over because it's completely irrelevant until you get to pre-calculus. Alright, so 18 and 19 should be skipped. So if you got that correct, how? Share your knowledge without using matrices. That'd be great. Alright, number 20. Number 20 is basically asking, what do you need to do if you have this equation? How do you find, how would you use the function to find the horizontal distance traveled by the ball and its maximum height? So they're actually just asking to describe the process. And so the process would basically mean if I hit a ball, okay, if I hit the ball, you can see that wherever it equals 0 here and wherever it equals 0 here, that is the distance. So if I found this value, we'll call it B, and this value, we call it A, if I took this guy and subtracted that distance, then I would have the total horizontal distance. But they actually want to know the distance from here, okay, from the horizontal distance to the height, okay. So what we'd want to do is we would want to use the vertex formula, which is negative b over 2a, to get the maximum. And when we find the maximum, all we have to do is plug that back in, which is what we did in the previous 2 problems, and you're going to get the height. So this distance right here is the height. Now if I wanted to know the full distance traveled, I actually don't have to use the quadratic formula or factoring. If I know when that happened, then that's going to be half my distance from here to here. So this distance here, if I find that out, I'm just going to double it to get the full distance, because the maximum value always happens in the middle of the flight. Okay, the absolute maximum value has to be at the middle of the object's flight. Okay, all right, between those 2 roots, okay, or 2 zeros. All right, number 21. You'll see here that we've got our equation here. I use my vertex formula, or the negative b over 2a, because I want the maximum profit, right? That's what it does. Determine the maximum profit. So this tells me when it happens. Now if 3 is the month, right? Because X is the number of issues sold per month in thousands, and it's profit. So X is the month. So it looks like it happens in its third month because of this formula. All right, and so I plug the third month in, and then I get 104. But if you look carefully, it does say that this is in the thousands. All right, so that means at month 3, this is the maximum profit. Okay.